Okay, for this video lecture, so we are in our module 6 entitled Decentralization, Responsibility Accounting, Performance Evaluation, and Transfer Pricing. So first, we will discuss about responsibility accounting in this video lecture. So here, top management usually creates areas of responsibilities known as responsibility centers in their organizations. So based on this responsibility center, they assign their subordinate managers to those areas, okay, to manage, to take responsibility, and to make decisions, okay, for their uh, designated or authorized uh, areas of responsibilities within the organization. So a responsibility center, this is a part of the business, okay. The manager is accountable for any specified activities within their jurisdiction, authority, or power. Okay, so here, the responsibility accounting is normally a system which measures the result of each responsibility center. So here, we will be able to compare the results with that of the expected or budgeted outcomes for control purposes, and also to provide incentives, rewards, or punishment, okay, depending on the outcome of the operations. So, for a responsibility center, so we have four major types. So the first type is the cost center. So this is a responsibility center in which a manager is responsible only for costs. So in this center, or in this part of the organization, they're only um, they are only incurring costs. Okay, they do not usually uh, produce or gain any profit. So an example of a cost center is, for example, in a university, we can consider the library as the cost center. Okay, because in this case, using the library do not actually create or generate the profit. So here they just share with the cost of purchasing books, other uh, equipment, okay, electricity, and utilities. Okay, so they just incur cost without generating the profit. So this is an example of a cost center. So the next type of responsibility center is the revenue center. So here, this responsibility center, okay, the manager here is responsible only for revenues. Okay, so this is where uh, the enterprise or the organization normally they incur cost, but at the same time they are generating revenues. Okay, so this is one of the important responsibility centers because they contribute to the overall profit of the organization. So the next uh, responsibility center is the profit center. So here, the responsibility center, or in this responsibility center, this is where the manager is responsible for both revenues and cost. Okay, let us just go back with the revenue. Okay, so we will just have a uh, we will just differentiate revenue center with that of the profit. Okay, what I have mentioned a while ago about revenue center, that is profit center, I mean. So for the revenue center, they are just only focused on revenue generation. Okay, but at the same time, um, they also incur costs, but in this case, they are only focused on the revenues, whereas in the profit center here, they are responsible for both the revenues and costs. Okay, so we all know that profit is, or in order for us to determine the profit, we need to deduct the expenses, okay, from the revenues. Okay, so basically, when it comes to cost and revenues, it is under the profit center. But revenue center and profit center are quite connected. Okay, because this is where we or the organization normally generates their profit. Okay, and the last is the investment center. So this responsibility center, the manager is responsible for revenues, cost, and investment as well. But here we focused more on the investment side. Okay, so uh, unlike for the revenue and profit center, these responsibility centers, their activities are focused on the normal course of operations of an organization. Whereas for the investment center, this is focused on those additional activities which are not normally part of the day-to-day operations. Okay, so it may be in the form of long-term assets, projects, and so on. Okay, so for investment center, so the manager here again is responsible for revenues, cost, and the investment involved. Okay, so those are for the response or the introduction for uh, responsibility accounting or responsibility centers.